Chapter 11. My feet back up automatically. I blend into the trees. I cover my mouth with my gloves to disperse my breath in the icy air. Adrenaline courses through me, wiping all concerns of the day from my mind as I focus on the immediate threat before me. What's going on? Has Thread turned on the fence as an additional security precaution? Or does he somehow know I escaped his net today? Is he determined to strand me outside District 12 until he can apprehend and arrest me? Drag me to the square to be locked in the stockade? Or whipped or hanged? Calm down, I order myself. It's not as if this is the first time I've been caught outside the district by an electrified fence. It happened a few times over the years. But Gail was always with me. The two of us would just pick a comfortable tree to hang out in until the power shut off, which it always did. If I was running late, Prim even got into the habit of going to the meadow to check to see if the fence was charged. To spare my mother worry. Today, my family would never imagine that I would be in the woods. I've taken steps to mislead them. So if I don't show up, worry they will. And there's a part of me that's worried too, because I'm not sure that this is just a coincidence. The power coming on the very day I returned to the woods? I thought no one saw me sneak under the fence. But who knows? There are always eyes for hire. Someone reported Gail kissing me on that very spot. Still, that was in the daylight, before I was more careful about my behavior. Could there be surveillance cameras? I've wondered about this before. Is this the way that President Snow knows about the kiss? It was dark when I went under the fence. My face was bundled in a scarf. But of the suspects likely to be trespassing into the woods is probably very short. My eyes peer through the trees, past the fence, into the meadow. All I can see is wet snow illuminated here. There are here and there by the lights of the windows on the edge of the scene. No peacekeepers in sight. No sign that I'm being hunted. Whether Thread knows I've left the district today or not, I realize my course of action must be the same. To get back inside the fence unseen and pretend I never left. Any contact with the chain link fence or the coils of barbed wire that guard the top would mean instant electrocution. I don't think I can burrow under the fence without risking detection. The ground is frozen hard anyway. That leaves only one choice. Somehow, I'm going to have to go over it. I begin to skirt along the tree line, searching for a tree with a branch high and long enough to fit my needs. After about a mile, I come upon an old maple that might do. The trunk is too wide and icy to shinny up, though. There are no low branches. I climb a neighboring tree and leap precariously into the maple, almost losing my hold on the slick bark, but I managed to get a grip and slowly inch my way out onto the limb that hangs above the barbed wire. As I look down, I remember why Gail and I have always waited in the woods, rather than to try to tackle the fence. Being high enough to avoid getting fried means you've got to be at least 20 feet in the air. I guess my branch must be 25. That's a dangerously long drop, even for someone who's had years of practice in trees. But what choice do I have? I could look for another branch, but it's almost dark now. The snow falling will obscure any moonlight. Here, at least, I can see I've got a snowbank to cushion my landing. Even if I could find another, which is doubtful, who knows what I'd be jumping into. I throw my game bag around my neck, slowly lower myself until I'm hanging by my hands. For a moment, I gather my courage. Then I release my fingers. There's a sensation of falling, and then I hit the ground with a jolt that goes right up my spine. A second later, my rear end slams to the ground. I lie in the snow, trying to assess the damage. Without standing, I can tell by the pain in my left heel and my tailbone that I'm injured. The only question is, how badly? I'm hoping for bruises, but when I force myself to my feet, I suspect I've broken something as well. I can walk, though, so I get moving and try to hide my limp as best I can. My mother and Prim don't know I was in the woods. I need to work up some sort of alibi, no matter how thin. Some of the shops in the square are still open, so I go in one and purchase white cloth for bandages. We're running low anyway. In another, I buy a bag of sweets for Prim. I stick one of the candies in my mouth, feeling the peppermint melt on my tongue, and realize it's the first thing I've eaten all day. I meant to make a meal at the lake, but once I saw Twill and Bonnie's condition, it seemed wrong to take a single mouthful from them. By the time I reach my home, my left heel will bear no weight at all. I decide to tell my mother I was trying to mend a leak on the roof of our house and slid off. As for the missing food, I'll just be vague about who I handed it out to. I drag myself in the door, all ready to collapse in front of the fire. But instead, I get another shock. 2 peacekeepers, a man and a woman, are standing in the doorway to our kitchen. The woman remains